Haters gonna hate. Oh, probably shouldn't sing that. I feel like Taylor would get mad and DMCA strike me. Well, maybe not Taylor, but like her record label, right? And I don't need things coming after me. But today we're gonna be talking about haters, and I hope you don't mind. I'm sitting on the floor stretching because I don't stretch, and I just got back from the gym, and I feel like stretching is something I should do because it's obviously like I guess good for you or whatever. And I don't do it. So I was like, well, I can talk to you all while I do it. So maybe that'll work out good. I feel like also the camera's crooked. So if it is, sorry. I don't know. Maybe it's also just like the way it is on the floor. I don't know. Whatever. Also, you can see I really cover all the Final Girl boxes because my son comes in here sometimes and like the pictures scare him. So, small children. Anyway, I want to talk a bit about haters and dealing with them because this kind of, like I said, well, maybe I said it, goes on with kind of what we talked about yesterday with content creation, but this goes with your own life too. Is that when you deal with content creation, I don't care how nice of a person you are or whatever, you're going to deal with haters, right? You're going to deal with people that just don't like you for you. It doesn't matter what you do to try to appease them, they're not going to like you. Like, sorry. Like, it stinks to hear, but that's just what it is. And all you can really handle is how you deal with the situation, how you deal with the people. So I know for me personally, I have a bunch. And some of it might be justified because they don't agree with my takes on things, which is fine. Some of them just don't like me as a person. They think I'm a bad person. So there's that. So I got that going for me. But you're going to have to deal with it. And I realize that there's like a lot of like advice out there of how to deal with it. But you kind of have to figure it out on your own, which kind of stinks, right? Because it's like tough to deal with. So for me personally, like I'm an old millennial because we've now differentiated ourselves, right? Like there's young millennials and there's old millennials. So I am an old millennial, and for me, like I grew up on the internet where if I said the things right now on YouTube that was said to me as a child, right? Like I would break every single term and condition out there. Like everyone would come after me. Oh, you know why it's unbalanced? Because the thing it's on is unbalanced. Now I get it. Actually, I want it should balance it itself. Whatever. It's on a chair. That's why it's doing it. So yeah. So I have to kind of just deal with the hate as it comes and whatever. And the thing is, because of my upbringing and how it was, I can handle it, right? It doesn't really bother me. But that's not to say like, oh, just suck it up and deal with it. Because we are programmed to pay attention to the hate as little as we want to. So there's a whole theory, thought, I don't really know which, about how, like, because of evolution, and right, we have flight and fight, right? That's what we have in our DNA because that's how the caveman ancestors survived or whatever. And so you on a video, and this happens to me all the time, is I could get like 100 comments on the video, just like this is the best content ever, like this is the best thing ever made, everyone should love D20, blah 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 blah, and then you get that one that's just like, this video is not very good, and like it sticks with you, right? Like it sticks with you for a long time. And you're just like, what did I do wrong? Like, what is it? Why isn't it good? Like, what was it? And like, they'll never explain what it was. Like, they kind of do, but not really. So it just kind of sticks with you. And it's one of those things that because of evolution, you're trained to like focus in on that thing. And it's tough. It's really, really tough. It's really, really hard to tell people to not pay attention to that because biologically, you're programmed to. And you can't beat biology with that. So that's just what it is. So that part stinks. But I will say, I think early on in content creation, and this is for content creation in your life, you need to figure out how to deal with it, right? Like you got to figure out how you're going to deal with the thing, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And everyone has their own way of coping with it. And some people can't handle it. And that's not like a negative on that person. That's just a reality. Some people are really, really bad at handling it. And either they have to find ways to handle it in the sense of like they block a bunch of people or they have people handle their like comments for them. Like they never look at the comments. Like there's different ways to handle it, but some people just can't handle it. And again, that's not a fault of the person. It's just a reality of what the situation is. Um, but I do believe that you have to find some kind of coping mechanism for it and dealing with it because it is going to happen. And let's take a broader scope out to social media as a whole. I don't know about you all, but social media is super negative, generally speaking. And with a lot of social media, you can kind of trick your algorithm to give you what you want it to be. So you can basically make it positive the vast majority of the time. Like some of the negative stuff is going to slip through. There's always going to be negatives on every single social media platform, and it's going to slip through. But generally speaking, most algorithms aren't super smart. Not that they're not good; they're just not like overly complex, I guess. So you can kind of program it to be the way you want to be. So just interact with positive things. And for a week or two, it's got to be a really conscious effort, but the algorithm will learn that this is what you want to see. So you can kind of curate your stuff that way, but still, you're going to find that now and again. How you handle that is going to be tough. It's going to be work, right? That's really what it is. It's just kind of work to deal with it. But then you have it in your own personal life too, right? Some people, you have a hostile coworker or hostile maybe person in an industry that you work in, right? Like there's always that one person who's just like, ugh, like I don't want to deal with Ted or whomever. Sorry to all the Teds out there, but I don't want to deal with that person. And you gotta figure out how to handle with it. Some people, I have a tendency to people that really annoy me, I kill them with kindness. So I'm just like super overly nice to them because it makes me feel like a better person, which makes me a worse person, I guess. I don't really know now I think about that. But that's my way of handling it. And then like I work out and do other things to de-stress that are at least somewhat productive. Or maybe I just play video games for 6 hours straight. But that's what works for me, and I get that out because there's just unfortunately you can cut a bunch of toxic negative people from your life, but yet they keep showing up, right? They're going to show up in some form or the other, whether in your personal life or in your business life, right? Whatever job, or if you have kids, right? And you deal with like someone else's parents, you're just like, I really don't want to deal with this person's parents. Sometimes you just got it, especially if the kids are friends and you don't want to take that away from your child. Or if you're a part of a social club, right? Like I said, I go to the gym a lot. So if you have gym friends or if you do cooking classes or whatever it may be, all right, in the board game space, if you go to board game conventions, there's going to be people in that circle that is really tough to deal with, that you just really don't want to. So you got to figure out your coping mechanism for that to deal with it. And I know this is like nothing new for a lot of people, but the general gist of this is to really state that it exists out there in real life, right? It happens constantly, all the time. And it trickles down through social media. Like it's like your outside world's a big circle, basically, and you have to deal with this nonsense of people. And in social media, maybe it's a little bit smaller or vice versa, but you still have to deal with it. And then in your personal spaces, you're probably going to have to deal with it at some point. And then it's no different with content creation, unfortunately. So figure out what works best for you. There are some people that, like, again, if they berate on me, I don't really care. There's times that, like, I'll have a guest on or novels on and they berate that person. Nah, you're not going to survive in my channel. That's the only time I really block people, is for that. But yeah, there's other stuff that I kind of let them vent their stuff. And I also, the other thing I'll bring up too is that not all the time that people are upset with you or offend you is because they're a bad person or they're purposely trying to do it. Some people are really bad at handling negativity in their own life, so they just lash out, right? And I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm just saying it's what people do, unfortunately. And the internet's a really easy place to do it because of anonymity, right? Am I saying that right? I think so. But you're basically anonymous on the internet, right? So you can lash out on people because they'll never know who I am. So what's the difference? And they don't take the time to think that there's a human being on the other side of that keyboard. And everyone does it. Not everyone, but a lot of people do it. So, it's unfortunately, like I said, it's just things you'll have to deal with. I forgot where I was going with that thread. This is the problem when you're just kind of like talking, is that you kind of forget what you were talking about. But whatever. I'm sure it was a very good point. But yeah, oh, that's what it was. Not everyone that does it is bad. People just have bad days sometimes. Sometimes they take it out. I've had people take things out on me and then message me separately and was like, hey, my bad. Like, I really shouldn't have done that. I was having a bad day and whatever. And then the ball's in your court and you can only handle it the best that you can. And some people just go, nah, I'm cutting this person from my life. And other people go, hey, I forgive you. Like, it's all good. I personally, assuming the person hasn't done it multiple times, I go the forgiveness route because it's just, I get, we all have bad days and bad things happen and whatever. So anyway, I feel like this was just like a thing that we never really talk about is negativity and haters. And if you're getting into content creation, and not even just on YouTube, but any form of content creation on Instagram or whatever, you're going to have to deal with haters. And what I can say is you can't control what a hater does to you, but you can control the way you respond to a hater. And what you respond with or how you handle it says a lot about you and your character. And I like to think about that as much as possible. And I fall short of responding the right way sometimes. I do. I'm not perfect by any means or even close, but I like to try to think about that in my head. Is that, okay, you know, this is a reflection of myself. How do I want to present myself out in the world? And sometimes that helps. Sometimes I'm really angry and it doesn't help. So anyway, I appreciate you all watching this. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I'll see you whenever we do the next one.